Hello, I am Deepa, a leadership coach and a facilitator, and I'm welcoming you to this edition of the Leaders Voice podcast. This is a podcast very close to my heart, a podcast where we celebrate and amplify the voices of energy driven leaders. Success is important, but all is not success. Success with inner energy and inner impact gets you multifold results. And that's what we invite our guests to speak and share their thoughts on. And today's guest, we have Vinisha Jayaswal. Vinisha, welcome to this space.
Thank you so much, Deepa, for inviting me to I think, a very intriguing topic for today, and not very many people talk about it. So the
Very
moment
true.
you approached me, I was like, wow, this is the need of the hour. So I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, I must share with the audience that I met Vinisha. I'm not sure when I met her, but I actually met her in Energy a couple of months ago, last November, when I was attending a conference at IAF where she spoke. And her words got my attention. And something about her was very different. And then I got to meet her yet again after a few months. And that's when I felt, oh my God, I connect with her and she talks and she lives energy driven leadership. And that's how, I got connected with you the next time, Vinisha. So you are that. That's how I feel.
Thank you so much, Deepa. Thank you for this.
So I want to introduce Vinisha, a transformational leader in organizational excellence. She is a powerhouse in the world of leadership, transformation, and organizational excellence. Her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. From starting as a janitor to becoming the chief learning officer of one of the largest healthcare organizations, Vinisha's story is a testament to the power of resilience, self mastery, and an unshakable belief in continuous growth. While her career trajectory may seem improbable to some, she knew from the very beginning that success isn't just about external achievements. It's how well you manage your inner world. Exactly the reason why I saw that in you, Vinisha.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepa.
With over 23 years of experience across leading organizations like Apollo Hospitals, Bokhard Hospitals, and ITC Hotels, Vinisha has dedicated her career to engineering high performance cultures and unlocking human potential. She's not just a learning and development expert, but a catalyst for change, working with corporate leaders, high growth teams, and emerging managers to drive measurable business results. Vinisha is the first Indian facilitator to win the Facilitation Impact Awards, not once, but four times, proving that the right interventions can transform business outcomes. Her work in leadership development, talent transformation, and behavioral change interventions has helped organizations redefine how they operate and lead in an ever evolving world. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Deepa. Thank you.
Beyond the boardroom, she's also the author of Imagineering, sorry, 7 success principles to engineer your imagination. And right above her head, you can see the book on her wall. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's here also
Um,
for those who want to see a closer look of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is a book that empowers professionals to move from limited thinking to limitless possibilities. She firmly believes that the biggest battles, all of ours, aren't fought in boardrooms, but in the mind and the heart. So true. Um, you know, yeah, absolutely. We don't feel tired because of overwork, but because of all these battles that you talk about in the mind and the heart.
Totally, totally.
By cultivating self discipline, emotional intelligence, and an unwavering growth mindset, she has excelled in all areas of life, from work to relationships to personal fulfillment. It's so beautiful that you are able to identify that there's an honor and recognize that in yourself. So beautiful. If you're here to discover what it takes to elevate your leadership game, drive innovation, and lead with energy and impact, you are here in the right place, right in this podcast. Welcome you once again.
Thank you so much, Deepa, for the intro. Yeah, it spoke a lot about me.
Of
and
course,
uh, and that is me. That is me. Totally.
yeah. And today you're the heroine.
Oh, thank you.
So Vinisha, let's begin the conversation. Uh, you've been in the corporate sector for so long, and generally, if you see in corporates, everybody's driven with a 10% of the iceberg, which is success. How did your journey begin to look at success with impact, with managing your energy, looking at what drives you?
So, you're absolutely right in saying, all of us are driven by that 10%, but what we miss out is the 90% inside. That is actually telling us that to attain that 10%, we still have to take care of the 90% inside. And there's a very beautiful instance. I mean, when I look back, I call it beautiful because at that time it was horrible. But when I look back, I say it's nice. Thank God it happened because there was a time, unfortunately, it happened in the early years of my career where like everybody you're in that mid career and you want to get those awards, those designations, those promotions and all of that, and I got it all. Okay, I really got it
Mhm.
all. But one day I just felt so ill. I felt so ill. I had typhoid and I had relapse. And my husband was telling me also at that time that take a break, take a break. And I'm like, no, no, how can I take a break now? I've just got this promotion, got this award, and I will get a better job. And I did all of that. I got that better job. But then I always say, when you don't listen to your body, God has its own ways of telling you, just sit down here now. So that is
True.
when it struck me that you know that's not what real success is, and I that's where my journey actually started the inner work at that time.
Uh, oh. So what did you do at that time? It just feels like in the hero's journey, there's a call for an adventure.
Yeah, so
So
that
yeah,
was
it
an
feels like
adventure.
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I would say that was my first introduction into meditation. i
Ah,
I understood what meditation does to you. That is where I was really introduced. And I remember I had gone for this. I was in Mumbai at that time, and I went to this through a friend of mine. I went to this person in Bangalore, and he would just do energy healing for his friends. So since my friend knew him, and he said, okay, why don't you come over? So I went over, stayed at his place with his family and everybody, and he had a little what should I say, a little center where with lots of these crystals and lots of things there to enhance the energy. And in the daytime there were three of us attending his sessions one on I mean there were three of us, three ladies attending his session. At the night we would go back and he would do a lot of energy work on me. And you won't believe, this was when I had the relapse. Okay, and I, of course, when I had the relapse, I refused to get admitted in the hospital because I already had the first bout and it was like too much of hospital happening. So I refused to get admitted. So I was at home only. But and I wanted to come to Bangalore. The doctor said, no, you can't travel. But my husband, who believes in me, always says, okay, go. He said, but take your medication. I said, okay. So I went. I stayed there in Bangalore for 10 days with, his family and everything. And you won't believe, Deepa, when I came back, my medical reports, I mean, I was cured. The doctors didn't believe that something like this is possible. They're saying, nay, it will take you 3 weeks. I'm like, no, but in 10 days, I'm totally cured. And after that, I don't know what illness is. After that day, I've never experienced illness
wow.
because of the energy work I started doing repeatedly. So
Wow.
that's.
That's so awesome. It just brings me back to um, there is so much illness with around, especially with people in corporates. And I was one of them.
Mm.
And I would say I don't have time to walk, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to do anything because मुझे काम करना है. And if I don't do it, then what will happen? When I studied myself also much later after I left corporate, what I realized is it is not corporate that did anything. It is my fear. There is so much of fear to let go, to drop the
Yes.
ball, and the fear that I can't pick it up. Have you observed this in your stint, in HR learning development?
Yes, yes, so much. I mean, I was also, I used to kind of study people uh,
Hmm.
for myself and wonder why is this person doing what he's doing? Why is he chasing? And the answer would be, oh, the boss is asking, the promoters are asking, they are asking. And if we don't do, what will happen? Failure. What happens if you fail? You
Hmm.
will be ashamed. I have never failed in my life. Oh, it's
Hmm.
so important to fail in your life. Because if you don't fail in your life, you won't know what is success looks like, what success feels like. So, people can't handle failure.
Yeah, yeah.
The famous saying, log kya kahenge,
Hmm.
is the
Yeah.
biggest thing in many people's mind. If I fail, what will people think?
Yes,
What will
yes,
people say?
yes, absolutely. And what
And
I've seen is now it's not absolute failure, but the narrative that one creates
yes,
from that failure is the
yes,
biggest problem.
yes, absolutely. So even when I was sick and I took that sabbatical for 3 years, people say, oh, you've taken a sabbatical, but I thought, I mean, those were the best years of my learning. I
Yeah.
became so creative, with my kid growing
Mm.
up. He was
Mm.
just all of 2 years old. I thought, I mean, I roamed the world. I became more creative. I saw so much more beyond the four walls of the corporate.
Yeah.
That just opened up so much for me. That made me a better
Yes.
person to take on more things when I went back.
Very true. So there was a
Mm.
purpose for,
Total
why you
purpose.
went back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And that also explains, that the four awards that you won, Facilitation Impact Awards, there was a purpose to, looks like there's a purpose to everything that you do.
Everything. I mean, I totally believe even if I'm meeting somebody, there is a purpose why I'm meeting that person for
Yeah.
two reasons. Either I am going to learn something from that person's
Yeah. Yeah.
experience, or that person is going to learn something from me.
Yes. Yes.
So I
A-
always look at
Absolutely.
that.
Yes. And that's how I felt when I met you. And now also that there is a big reason why we are meeting, why we are speaking, and I don't know why.
And that's okay if we don't know now. We'll
Yes.
realize later.
Very true. Very true. So, generally what I've seen is when we work on the inner mastery, it does the impact of it is in the outer world. It's in our leadership action, it's in the way we speak. And you also said that you have fulfillment in all areas of life. So, can you share example where you saw this inner work impact your outer work?
Yeah, so that actually reminds me about, when I joined one of my organizations. And I was actually told by my boss that there is a member on your team who's quite senior, so he's quite senior. And everybody who's come in your place before this, he's not allowed them to stick on. So I was
Got
like,
it.
okay, challenging guy, what to do? So, normally, how would you approach? Normally, one would go, okay, I'm the boss, and you're the subordinate. Okay, you might have been here for so many years, but nothing's really moved, blah, blah, blah. You would do all that. But when I met him for the first time, so he was told by my boss, okay, she's come, and of course, she's younger than you, but you have to, he was tightened up by my boss. But then I approached him very friendly. I kind of, I went in with an energy of, listen, I'm here to partner with you. I'm not here to put you down or to be your boss. So when I brought
Wow.
in that energy in that room when I met him for the first time, I was like, what can we do together to make a difference? My energy totally shifted from, if I'd probably been the same person earlier, done the same thing before my energy work, I would have been, you're on my team, I'm your boss, you have to listen to me. But no, it's like, What can we do? You've been here longer than I have, and I want to learn from your experience. It's going to enhance what we do. So,
Mm.
where my whole perspective changed from boss subordinate to actually collaborative approach as a team. And instead of pointing out to people saying that you need to improve on this, I work on their successes, on their strengths rather. What is your strength and how can we utilize our strengths together to achieve something better? So that was a very big shift for me.
Wow. Beautiful. From bossing energy to, like you said, collaborating or partnering energy is the
Totally. Yeah.
shift.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
And you know what? This makes you such a good human being. Forget a boss. It just elevates the way you show up.
Yeah. And today he's my best friend. I've left that organization
Oh,
7, 8 years ago, but we're still in touch.
wow, wow, wow. And how do you use this energy to make critical decisions, or sometimes difficult decisions?
So I'll share another example instance during COVID. Um, things were, how COVID was, and I was in the healthcare,
Oh,
and we went to
yeah,
work every single day. Okay, there
yeah,
was no work from home for us, and there was a time when we had to make decisions and decisions were changing, but the government was coming up with
yeah,
every day you go to work there was something new. You had to be in touch with the news and the papers and all of that to see what's the next that you have to tell people.
yeah.
So that was a time I realized that it's very very important because everybody is suffering. Okay, and how can I ensure with my team that we make a positive difference to these people rather than scaring them? How can we protect them? So what is the language we need to use with them? What is the energy we need to bring to work? And being in healthcare also, I used to tell my team that we are not sick, the patients are sick. They should feel happy and they should recover looking at us. I said, for us, it's our job. We are coming to work. So you don't need to be sad. You need to be yourself. You need to be happy so that the patients are happy. So this
Wow.
energy shift makes things better and easier to take decisions at work.
Wow. And that too being there and you are seeing deaths, no?
Yeah,
You are
yes,
encountering so much fear around you.
yes, it is.
I
It is. I
mean,
mean,
a hospital was the worst to be in during COVID. How did you manage your fear? And how did you motivate people to manage their fear? It was so scary.
yeah. So, of course, I do my inner work rituals, in the morning and in the night. So, managing my fear, something that I do is the moment I feel that, I'm there is it's something scary, I just kind of focus on deep breathing. And I can tell myself that, I always believe, if God takes you to something, He will take you through it. So if I've come here, I have to overcome something, and that therefore I have come here. So then I just change that in my mindset, and that's what I've written in my book also. It in my book I've written about how as leaders we can actually just change our thought and an emotion. So the moment you change that your thought and your emotion changes, and I just convert that fear into a positive action or a positive thought. And so yeah, I mean, since I've been practicing it for so many years now, it's like a switch on and switch off
Yeah,
button.
yeah. And how did you motivate your team members to also switch? Because fear was lurking at that time.
Yeah, so we of course we used to come in the morning, and we would kind of what I love beautifully about the nurses in every hospital I've seen, before they start their day, they say a prayer before they start their shift. Every nurse together, they say their prayers for the patients and for them to give them strength. So that is
Wow.
something I started doing also, because we were all going through that. So give us the strength to give other people strength to
Wow.
go through this. So bringing that kind of an energy in the room and taking
Mm,
it forward, because you
mm,
can't be too happy, you can't
mm,
be too sad, you have to balance your emotions.
mm.
You
Wow.
suddenly hear one of your own team members has got COVID, and somebody's passed away, and like, how do you balance your emotions then?
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's I mean, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it
Yeah, me too, me
now.
too. And what you're saying, what I heard is that all of you kind of elevated your consciousness.
Yeah.
It is like a, but there was mm, one cartoon that you used to see when I was young, where I think somebody was stuck. I think a line was stuck, and all the birds came, sat on the net, and took the net away. So,
Okay.
something that imagery was coming, that I think you elevate your level of consciousness to the extent that you can
It's
manage the
important.
day.
It's important. You have to
Wow.
come out of that energy
Yeah.
level. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah. Yeah. These things are really not spoken about. It's really sad for me. I work with leadership clients, and when they come to me for teamwork, and when we go through the layers of what is teamwork, what does it mean to you, what does team mean,
Hmm.
what does individuals mean, when we come to that, we realize that the consciousness or the awareness of the inner world is completely missing. I wish
So
it
true.
was taught in schools and colleges, and
Yeah.
that I see is a major lacuna.
True.
They're not
Very true.
introduced.
Yeah. It's only the IQ. The SQ is just not spoken
Yeah,
about.
it's not spoken. And, when people experience hurdles, they
Yeah.
again go to somebody who'll do something in the upper
Absolutely.
and it gets sorted, but the core never
Not
gets
the
addressed.
Very true. The inner the so it's like this inner work of inner work while playing tennis, that book Timothy Galway's
Yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah. My
So
favorite.
yeah, it's just like that, it's you have to, it's all a mind game. I mean, you're right, it surprises me because even cricketers, even athletes, even any sportsman, it's an inner game. If you're playing a sport, it's an inner game.
Yeah, yeah.
Why can't we bring that to the
Yes,
organization?
yes,
So
yes, absolutely. I so agree. My younger son is a professional shooter,
beautiful.
and we can see, and now he can also see because he's been shooting for a while, that his hand shakes when he has doubts.
Yes. My son also happens to be a shooter.
Wow, that makes it two of us in a
Yeah.
similar boat. So yeah, the inner game, and uh, Galway, I mean, his biggest gift is that performance potential equation, where he
Yes.
says
Yes.
performance is equal to potential minus interferences.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I think I knew this much later, but
Hmm.
I knew the interferences and I would be bogged down with the interferences and
Yeah.
not even able to see my potential.
True.
So I'm
True.
sure you would be seeing that as a leader, you would have seen it in so many of your team members.
Yeah. And there have been times when they would come, oh, ma'am, this can't be done. So one of the principles that I adopted, fortunately, at a very young age, is that in my dictionary, the words no, impossible, can't, they don't exist.
Ah,
So if you
nice.
ask me where did I get that, I don't know where I got it. Maybe it was my dad being too strict that no, don't. He would never accept no as an answer. So, because of that, I always tend to find ways or means of what next, how can we do it? Because there has to be a way. There has to
Wow.
be. I always tell my team, there has to be a way. It's okay. If you can't get that now, it's all right. Just take a deep breath or probably go take a walk and come back. But you'll find a way. But find a way. There is a possibility. There is a way it can be done. There is no about something can't be done or it's not possible. So that's what my book also talks about. It's a
Mm.
it's one of the principles that I've always used in my life. And like I've put the 7 principles here. There were actually
Hmm.
21 principles that I'd done a workshop back at the organization. And when I saw mindset of people shift with that 21 principles, that's when I said, let's take it out to the world. So I brought it in a smaller form. I put 7 only
Wow.
to make it like 100 page because I didn't want to make it too heavy. So it's like you can, pick it up at the airport and read it also. And at the end of every chapter, there are questions and reflective questions. So if you really answer those questions, you will see a transformational shift in your mind. That has
Absolutely.
to happen. It cannot not happen. And it talks about all the areas of our life because, I also realized very sadly, Deepa, that when we are in the corporate, we don't have time. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time for this. Why? Because I'm chasing results. I'm sitting in the office till pretty late and I have to give that piece of work. But if you don't charge yourself like you charge your phone every day, the moment the battery goes down, our battery also goes down. But it's the energy battery we don't realize is what is going down. And then
Yes.
we end up mindlessly eating, we end up
Yes.
mindlessly drinking, addictions, all of that
Yeah.
comes from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's all
Yeah.
it's all in the head. It's all, what am
Yeah.
I thinking, how am I approaching, what's the energy that I'm bringing,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
that is yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's
The
what my
biggest
book also
addiction
talks
that I
about.
see is workaholism.
Totally, oh
And
my god.
it's a celebrated addiction. It is not
Oh, it
even
is,
treated as
it
an addiction.
is. I've experienced that. Oh, you should, but then I'm like, it's okay. And Deepa, I really believe that if you're not able to complete your work in the time that you're given, you're not efficient. If you're taking extra hours to complete that work, it doesn't mean that you're very efficient. And to be efficient, you have to work on your inner self.
Yes,
The fact
absolutely.
that you're not
Yeah.
working on your inner self, you're taking so much
Yeah.
longer to finish that
Yes.
hour, that piece
Yes.
of work.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Correct.
So
Absolutely. And I had a client, and he used to do that. He used to work, come back home, spend time with the children, and then work till 2 o'clock every single day. And I asked him to make a thought log.
hmm,
So very reluctantly, he made the thought log. And he did it for 1 month. Sometimes 30 thoughts, sometimes two thoughts.
hmm,
But we had a sizable amount of data. And when we
hmm,
looked at the thought log together, what we observed was most of the thoughts were negative thoughts, pulling back thoughts. Like you said, no, there is impossible is not there. Every thought was in the zone of impossible. I can't do
hmm.
it. Is it possible? Which means that inside this is going on below the iceberg.
Correct. Yes,
Outside, I have to achieve
absolutely.
success. I have to finish my
Yes,
goals, etc. There is always this tussle going on every minute of life. And it was an
absolutely.
eye opener to him. He never had ever done this research. So I invite always clients to be like an inner researcher. Please
Yes,
research. You get
yes,
data, then you take all your shots. You do whatever you want.
absolutely. And it's so important, um, even something like just putting your thoughts down. Okay, even
Yeah,
if you don't want to analyze it, just put your thoughts down and
yeah,
in pen and paper. So today going digital, but again, I believe no,
yeah,
however digital we go, there is a nerve from your brain
yeah.
that goes through your hand onto that
And
pen and
correct.
paper. And when you're writing that with the pen and paper, you're releasing that negative energy from your brain.
Yes,
But the
very
moment
true.
you're doing it with your fingers on the mobile phone or the laptop, there is so much of other negative
Yeah,
energies that's around your Wi-Fi and
yeah.
all of that that's actually sapping you off your energy.
Yes, yes,
So I always tell my clients that if you can just put off your Wi-Fi in the night, sit peacefully with your pen and paper and just jot down anything that comes to your mind, anything, just write mindlessly.
yes,
It will just come out.
yes, yes. Absolutely right. So, what are your practices for clearing and managing your energy on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
So some things that I do to manage my energy daily, of course, I do my meditation every morning and night. Um, I believe in forgiveness, forgive anybody and everybody, whether I've hurt them in some way or not. I don't know, knowingly, unknowingly. So forgiveness is something, and abundance is another way I meditate on. I forgive and I receive abundance as well, because I believe that, you know, I have received everything in my life only because of the energy work that I have done. So whether it is, I don't know how many people have would believe, but twice in my career, I've got 100% hike in my salary. I don't think that's kind of heard of, very rarely heard of in the corporate world, but I have got a, hike in my salary twice. Okay. And I believe that is only because of the abundance that I attract in my life. I believe everything is energy. Even our money is energy. What you give you get. If you don't give, if you bargain, if you there is this little joke among the housewives when you go shopping, say danya free mein de do. I don't even ask for that.
बॉम्बे में बहुत होता है.
हाँ, बॉम्बे में बहुत होता है. So ever since I learned कि ना that is also energy, I'm like नहीं यार, नहीं पूछना बेचारे, मतलब he's giving me a discount, but that 2 rupees means so much for him. It doesn't mean anything for him. I'm just doing it for the sake of having a little fun, or just to get that little joy कि मुझे कुछ free में मिला. I'm like, can I give that joy to somebody else कि उसको मेरे से चलो 2 पैसे 2 रुपए ज्यादा मिले, doesn't matter. That's the energy, so for me, every little thing is energy, and each time i I feel that, I am taking off something from someone, I will replenish it back.
Yeah, yeah.
So those are things that I do. So is, practices that I do. Even you take Ola, Uber, I always tip these guys. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, ठीक है यार, sometimes, you get somebody who's irritated in the cab, or you're going, you know what it is in Bangalore, in Bombay or something, but he's having a bad day, it's all right, let him, give him an extra tip, it's all right. So, you know everything is, for me, everything is energy, and I look at it like that. So for to protect my energy, morning, evening, I have my certain rituals. If I'm in high stress moments, I just pause and focus on my breathing. I just
Yeah.
bring my attention to my breathing. Very, very
Mhm.
important. So sometimes you're sitting in a meeting, you can't do so many things. You just kind of pause and just focus on your breathing, and then you talk. If someone's arguing in front of you, you're listening. Okay. You don't want to shout, you don't want to argue, but just focus on your breathing, and that really, really helps me.
Mhm. Wow.
Mm.
So bringing yourself back to the present moment.
And even at work, I would, in the lunch break, I would go for a walk.
I've seen
Take that
many.
walk out in the sun. Of course,
Mhm.
very hot 132, but still, just take chakkar maro building ka and come back. And that really replenishes you again, the energy of the sun. So
Mhm.
because we sit in AC offices, everything's so closed. So you just want to go out in the sun because by the time you step out in the evening, it's dark. You haven't seen the sun.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah,
So yeah, I just take that walk.
absolutely. I'm just curious to know, how do you plan to use this principle, this way of living? I'm hearing you, it being a way of living for you, into
Yes.
your second avatar in your life as an entrepreneur.
It doesn't change much because that's me, I mean, I'm not changing how I am, whether I'm a entrepreneur or whether I've been somebody in the corporate. I'm not changing the me. But now in my second innings as an entrepreneur, I want to teach this to so many people out there. Guys, you need it. It's just so needed, because personally, being in the healthcare, I have seen so many people doing really well in their life, but not taking care of their health. And that is something that I have seen how they handle their teams. If I've seen how stressful their team members are because of because of
Definitely.
bosses like that. You know,
Mhm.
so in one of my in one of the organizations I was working in, one of the CEOs, I mean, I just asked the CEO, I said, why do you shout so much, at your team members? नहीं नहीं, उनको डरा के रखना है. Why are you bringing that negative energy in them? I said, if you just speak to them nicely and explain to them why you need certain things done in a particular way, I'm sure they will do it better. So, of course, he was there for a period of time and he dealt the way he dealt. But the moment he went off and another boss came and did exactly the same thing that, she did, the opposite of him, the
Opposite.
team performed so well, so well.
Mm.
So it's my and it's not only about your team. You are playing it in your head, and when you are playing it in your head, it's affecting everybody you meet and yourself. So it's affecting more you than it is affecting the other
Yeah,
person,
yeah, absolutely.
because you are building it to show something else, but that's not you. That's
Mm.
really not you. Just be
Mm.
you, just be yourself. And I think that's so important. Somewhere we have lost touch with our original selves, only because we want to achieve something, only because we have to show to others that I am this.
Mm.
Show your true self and everything will just work out so perfectly for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I love saying this, that uh, I started my career as a janitor in a hotel, and I just happened to speak to someone the other day. I usually don't tell these stories to anybody, but I don't know why I just happened to speak to this to a friend of mine the other day, and I was saying, I went through such hardships in that 6 months that I was. It was my first job out of college, and I broke my back. I had injuries, and all of that stuff, because janitor in a hotel, and you have those big trolleys, and you're pulling that. I was really thin at that time. The trolley was heavier than me, but imagine the stress. It was not the physical stress, but it was more the mental stress of my boss, who was only after me just because I kind of said something that was actually right, but he didn't want to agree to it. You know, so he harassed me, and at that age I couldn't take it. I was just 21 years old. I couldn't take it, and I was, I kind of almost resorted to uh, different things, and then I realized. I got into hospital and I was like, shit, what the hell am I doing? And I'm like, why as bosses? So when I became a boss, I vouched I would never treat my team members
Wow.
like that. I said, no, I will never treat my team member like that, because I know what it is. So I'm just thinking, with bosses like that who are strict and who say, नहीं डांट के ही काम होगा, जोर से बोलने से ही काम होगा. नहीं यार, प्यार से भी काम होगा. Just, I mean, would you do that to your own child at home कि उसको डांट के पढ़ाओ? नहीं, वो नहीं सुनेगा आपकी बात. They become rebellious, and then they don't like you. I don't know if you've heard of this story, but it's a beautiful story I love to tell. That there was this boss in an organization, and he would shout at everybody, even the peon. And every day he would ask for his coffee. So this peon, khunnas nikalna na, he would spit into that coffee and give it to the boss. I just want to ask everybody, do you want that happening to your coffee? Just be kind. It will help you as a person more than the outer person. So what you are inside reflects your outside. So if you're shouting, there's lots to work on inside. If you're somebody who's angry, who's shouting, and that's who
Yeah.
you are inside, and you don't want to show that. That's not the real you. Circumstances have made you like that. So
Mm.
I just urge everybody, get in touch with your real you, and I think that's what Deepa, you and me, we
Yeah.
want people to connect with us and say that we are here to help you figure
Yeah.
that out for you. We have lived
Yes.
it, we have been through it, we have suffered, we've had our shares. We don't want the rest of you to go through
Yes.
everything. So
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I would urge all of you who are watching to really pick Vinisha's book. Um, uh, I will share the link also in the caption so that you can easily click and buy. Because, like she said, reflective questions change the world. Sometimes we want to do it, but we don't know how. And when authors like Vinisha are able to give you the how in simple steps, what more can you ask for? And thank you, Vinisha, for doing this. I'm sure it would have come through you. You would have channeled those things. You wouldn't have really sat and say, ye karna hai.
No, it's all it's the principles that has made me successful in my life.
Exactly.
So I want to just ensure that everybody understands that, because if it's helped me, it will help you also.
Yes,
So it's not rocket
absolutely.
science, but it will definitely help you to go deep into yourself, reflect within, and ask yourself what are you doing about it, and how can, and of course the journey as you move through the chapters, it tells you how can you overcome it. And it's in all areas of your life, because when you're stressed in one area, you are stressed in all the other areas of your life,
Yeah,
Deepa. And I'm sure the
yeah.
example that you gave earlier with your client, the negative thoughts must have not only been at work, it would have been also with his relationships in the house,
Every area. Yeah,
every area.
exactly. Yeah,
It
every
also
area.
stops money flowing into your life. Do you know
Mm,
that? Oh, I
mm.
must talk about this.
Yeah,
The moment you change your internal energy, money flows in your life in
yeah,
abundance
yeah.
in different forms.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I was telling you about a client I was working with. They came for creating their offers, etc.
Huh,
And I said, but my approach to work is not by making the offers, but to work on the energy. She agreed,
absolutely.
and it
Absolutely.
happened. So yeah, I mean, I so agree. And the other client I was telling you about, where he did the thought record, what he realized, that he was being so cruel to his children.
Yeah, yeah.
That was his
That's
eye
what.
opener.
True, so true.
So,
You know?
and he couldn't handle the guilt of that. And I have
Yeah,
gone through it myself.
so did I. I mean, that's when I had typhoid and relapse, I was contemplating before that on taking a break for my child. And because I started feeling guilty that, my 1.5-year-old child who couldn't speak at that time, if you asked him where mama is, he would run to the room to see which handbag is gone. Because I have this thing of एक ही handbag I will
Oh
take to
my
work, the other handbag
God.
बाहर जाने के लिए. So, he would say, Mama office, Mama gumi gumi. So, depending on what bag, I was like, oh my God,
Oh
he's
my God.
identifying me like that. And then, when I was thinking, अभी break लूँ नहीं एक award आ गया, अभी break लूँ नहीं एक नया job आ गया, promotion आ गया. So like, it's like God's way of telling you, like, now just sit down, I'm giving you this illness. So when
Very
you don't
true.
listen to yourself, God has his plans to give you
Very
everything
true.
you don't want in your life.
Very true. Absolutely. Lovely, Vinisha. I think it's been wonderful having this conversation with you.
Thank you
What are
so
your
much.
final thoughts, to for people who want to be on this path, either step into this path or continue this path?
I would just say for people that, working, the biggest project that you can work on is yourself. Because when you work on this project of self, it automatically takes care of all the areas of your life. And that's exactly what my book is all about. It talks about, the eight different areas, that eight different roles that we play in our life, and how it's important to give equal time to each of those roles. So when you focus on one area completely, for example, and in our corporate life, we generally office, we change work. When you're chasing that, you may not be doing so well there, but that also reflects in your relationships, in the money flowing to you, your promotions. Oh, he got that promotion, I didn't get that promotion. He got that increment, I didn't get that increment. I have never ever thought like that, because I have always believed that what is mine will come to me. And like I said earlier, I'm a classic believer, example of having got 100% hike twice in my career. I don't know how many people out there have really got this, but that is only because of my inner work, and because of the abundance that I work on in myself. I attract the abundant energy in my life. That is what I attract. And that you can do by working on your inner self, not just saying, okay, I'm going to get it and it'll come. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. It's not a switch that you switch on and switch off.
Of course,
It takes
thankfully you said
time.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you go to a 2-day workshop and come back and then magic wand pe sab theek ho jayega. No, it's not that. It takes
Absolutely.
time, but it'll
Yeah.
happen. The belief, just believe that it'll happen and work towards it. I think it will just happen.
Superb. I feel like you're the Murti of positivity.
Thank you so much, Deepa.
So good. So good. I enjoyed this conversation, and I
Same
hope
here.
all people watching, all leaders watching it would also take back. And if you have any questions, any thoughts, doubts, please reach out to Manisha. She's very much there on LinkedIn. and yeah, and see what difference she can make in your life. Definitely not to forget her book.
Thank you. Thank you so
Right.
much. Yeah, really looking
Thank
forward.
you.
And by the way, the book also has at the back of the book, there's a QR code that gives you a free coaching session with me. So
Hmm.
read the book, come with your questions. I'm so happy to take you through your journey, to partner with you on your journey.
Super, super. Thank
Thank you
you,
so
and have a
much.
wonderful second innings.
Thank you so much, Deepa. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to us.